So, welcome everybody to the first meeting of the new year of the club. This is the agenda. So, the main thing from my perspective are elections. I know who each of you are. We'll be expecting a volunteer. So with that, I do want to say thank you for a great first year. I think we had, really a nice set of topics last year, a wide range of things, finishing with the ham bake, and my favorite food group featured prominently. So thank you for all that. Financial, Neil, do you want to chat to this or shall I just run through it? Okay. As you can see, we're really flush. We have $64.56. So our most significant expense was the domain renewal. So we did discuss dues at the board meeting. We decided to keep the minimum at $5. And so that's where we're at. So please do pay Neil for anyone who wishes to be an active member. And in terms of moving forward, kind of things we're thinking about for this year, and this is where, of course, would love your input. I'm going to chat with Ed Fong. He's a well-known Valley person who makes antennas. Is very active in that area. So we'll get him February or March, hopefully, to present. And the new radio room there, that is, the remodel is supposed to be done sometime in March. So if that does stay true, then we can reestablish the radio room there and start training for the operators. Last year, about 8 folks said they were interested in being operators of the radio room. So we'd start that. We might cover operating an emergency, so message passing, county nets, just a review about how Aries Races works and specs in the county. The LAHEG is the LAH Emergency Group, and they are looking after the repeaters. Several of us here are members on that group. And we have found that our standby repeater is not active, our current one, so we're looking at doing an upgrade of both repeaters. We have some spare Yaesus, and so we're looking at putting those in there. Dave Stewart's done a lot of work with Meshtastic and has discovered the goods and the bads, and Neil and Dave are looking at alternatives, so I hear some from that. PK mentioned talking to some folks who are doing SATCOM, Earth Moon Earth communications, and get a talk on that. So that's kind of what we've come up with as the board. If any of you are interested in having a particular topic addressed, I'm all ears. Let me know now or by email. I am, in terms of topics, I'm very interested in having broad topics that the ham community in general is interested in. So not just emergency communications, but digital technologies, satellite. Would like to attract younger members. For instance, one of our members, her son is starting a ham club, and it would be great to get their members in here. And I think doing things like Meshtastic, doing other LoRa type things might be of interest to them. Satellite comms might be of interest. So anyway, that's where our heads are at. Anybody have any thoughts?
Christine and I went to the West Valley Club meeting, and the speaker there, Jim DeLoge, gave a very nice talk on satellite communications. If you're looking for somebody to do that.
Yeah, Jim. He also gave a talk at Pacificon, right?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think he did it at Pacifica.
Yeah, he's the person I had in mind also.
Oh, cool.
Okay. And he's also available to help out with demos and such. So,
Perfect. Yeah, that would be great. Anybody else got a topic?
All right, I have not really a topic for a fan club meeting, but an activity I'm going to encourage everyone to participate in. The next county quarterly drill is February 22nd, which is a Saturday. And it's a stay at home and check into the resource net. It's the key part of the exercise.
Sounds hard.
And if you're willing to, it's testing the mutual aid system. So if you're willing to be assigned to another town and pretend you're driving there and do health and welfares and stuff, that's the other part of it. I think it's good practice for everyone. It's relatively easy. You just have to be able to get to the resource net, which is ASH or A6BT. It's good for you to know whether you can reach either or both of those. And it's 10 to 12.
It's just a check-in.
It's more than a check-in, but it can be as little as a check-in if that's all you want to do.
Did you have to sign up on the website?
I think so you're invited to sign up on the website, but if you're participating with the city, which is what I'm proposing to do, there's no requirement. If you want to be at the county radio room, which is a fine thing to want, then you have to sign up.
is he connected to Echo Link? Because I'm not here, I'm far away. So,
Unfortunately, no, that's been a EG suggested,
okay.
and not just EG, it's been suggested for W6ASH also.
Yeah.
It's not.
There.
I was wondering if there'd be a way to monitor what all of the various groups have as speakers. When I say all the various groups we have in the county, 16 or more radio groups that are associated with the various towns. They all have speakers. Maybe we should be tracking that.
Well, that's pretty much how we've gotten some speakers in the past,
Okay.
was by corralling them from other groups. I know Steve Osterberg of Specs runs a meetup site and has calendars for every group's meetings and groups. We as this club haven't done that yet. I haven't done that, but we could put our meetings up there and invite people. So that would be a place we could look. Neil, did you want to?
You made the exact point I was going to make, which is rather than Steve's already put a huge amount of work into this and trying to get groups updated on the meetup. If anyone here is interested in what other cities are doing, the meetup group is the first place I would start.
Yeah. But in terms of like actually parsing speaker lists and so on, yeah, good thing for a volunteer to do.
I'm very aware of what I do myself. My wife tells me I should keep my hand down. But I don't.
No, but that's a great idea.
I'm from Larry's, which is Los Altos, not Hills, but Los Altos group. We don't have meetings like this. I mean, I'm in FARS. We have meetings like this for the Amateur Radio Club, but we only meet on the radio on Monday. We, maybe 50 members or something like that. I'll say 20 or 30 are active, but maybe we can get together, have a joint meeting or something.
A great idea.
Yeah, I mean, Harry Guy and, asked me to stop by here, no one else from, we're not interacting too much between the groups, is the thing, other than I'm in CERD, and so sometimes I'm here and stuff like that, and I recognize some of the other people, but,
Yeah, and Ed Fong was twisting my arm to join FARS. There is a FARS meeting Friday night at 7 o'clock, I think, at Covington School.
it's at Covington.
Yeah, so I was going to go over that.
And they have good, they have speakers every time. Someone manages to get a speaker. Some people are distant speakers, so they come across on, Zoom.
Yeah, okay.
But some in person, but we pretty much always have a speaker and a subject going on.
Yeah, so
Anyways, I'm Jeff Nellis, KCJLN.
perfect. Well, thanks.
I just want to add, they have great door prices too.
But, oh, yeah, that's true,
Yeah.
yeah.
So,
And Ed provides food sometimes, I know. There are lots of benefits to, apparently, to being associated with that. So, all right, so anyway, those are our thoughts, Grady, about monitoring other sites and reaching out to other groups, so, and would love to do a joint meeting. You know, we could coordinate that when there's a speaker of interest that you think might draw people. You know, that we have or whatever that might make a good joint meeting, that would be awesome.
Try to make an announcement our next meeting since I'm running the net anyways.
Okay, there you go. Here you go. All right. So, in terms of, what can we do as a club? Oh, the other thing I thought for maybe regular club updates would be DX reports. I mean, we got a great one tonight of 40 meters in Bangalore from here. So, I mean, if folks are active with DX, I know Andy's active, PK. So maybe just 2 minutes of who's done what on what band and where. I think that would be inspirational to those of us who are still newbies, like me. Other things we could do, of course, from, you know, we could support the town, which we, that's one reason why the town is supporting us, is our support of the town, support CERT drills. Neil brought up participating in the county drill, so we'd like to do that. There's the opportunity to establish an alternate EOC radio room, but it may be that that need goes away if the current radio room is really done in March. I don't know if you have thoughts on that, Neil.
So I think the emergency plan calls for, it's actually not at the fire station, it's at, building 7400, is it?
The secondary EOC.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
fallback
the
EOC.
building number is, but there's,
One on the top.
yeah,
1,000.
it's a foothill college.
They're EOC.
It's not Foothills EOC, it's an alternate EOC for the town.
Oh,
yeah.
In case this building was uninhabited.
Okay, so that can still exists, so we would want to do that. Arden, that's on me.
Before we move on, I mean, one of the other things that we have not finished is putting up the CERT radio at the El Monte Fire Station.
Okay.
And getting that finished would be kind of useful so that Bill wasn't always operating out of the parking lot in a suitcase.
So, wait, can we collect volunteers who want to participate?
No. But it's another idea.
Qualifies for the dock.
Yep. Well, it's already there in the El Monte Fire Station.
Yeah, perhaps, maybe I was conflating the two things. So yeah, so that's good. I'm happy to help with that on the repeater stuff. So, Arden, I still want to do, some experimentation there. Ran out of time last year, but I would like to see us play with that this year. And I know several folks, PK and others, have said they're interested. So would like to do that. Dave and Neil are focusing on Meshtastic, so perhaps we'll have some other actions there. What was the other?
Reticulum.
Reticulum, yeah, that's the other one. Repeater connectivity, we ran, you know, testing around the fire district for connectivity to the repeater with Rubber Ducky, Maggie Mountain, and J-Pole. That was done, I think, 5 to 10 years ago.
Probably 10.
I'm sorry, Ed gave me all the reports and I looked at them and now the date has escaped me, but it was a long time ago and maybe that's something that we want to repeat. Would be a nice way for me to get donuts out to everybody, including myself. One of the things that's come up is the desire perhaps to add an HF capability at the La Cresta repeater site that could be connected by Echolink or others that would allow club members to access HF. I think that's probably as far as that's been progressed in terms of thought. I don't know, Neil, if you want to.
I still have scars from the last time we tried to put an HF antenna at El Cresto.
Yeah, that was,
So
Yeah,
I fully support
cost us our
HF.
relationship with the water company.
I support the idea of the project. I think trying to put it at La Cresta is not a battle I would try to take on
All right.
unless we change water commissioners.
All right. And then would like to grow the membership. The Teen Cert program in Los Altos Hills is very active. Be nice to draw from that. Our member, Mira, her son is doing, as I mentioned, a ham club at his high school. So it'd be nice to draw from that. So anyway, it'd be nice to get some more activity. The Monday Night Net is really crickets quiet. We had 7 people Monday night. This is the local Los Altos Hills Net. It'd be great if folks could drag out their HT and connect. Be nice to get more of a group going there, and also to have folks check in on the UHF 220 net for specs on Monday night. So I'd like to see that.
Does everyone here know when we say the Monday Night Net, what that means?
I know.
The audience who you most want to attract may not be aware. I see a lot of regulars, but I see a few who aren't. Anyway,
I'd like to see the frequencies for the SpexNet up there on the PLs.
Yeah, I cheated and just put the URL down.
Last night I was gonna check in on 220, which has worked, but I couldn't remember what the frequency was. I kept flipping through the memory. It's in the memory. Small group, but I couldn't find it. It was a little late to look it up.
So
Yeah.
I might make a suggestion. So we had in Larry's, so we had, a core group of people that would only run the net, okay? And so we took the list, and Jim and some other people made it such that someone off that list, you got assigned to run them
No,
every week. And you were sent emails, you're going to run the net. Please be aware of it. The first 6 months or so was a little rough on people that had never really run a net, but it's okay because it's not that complicated a one with patients or with people. But it actually kind of got everybody more involved.
Yeah.
And, then we would be able to get people out of that list too, to be able to run, because we have to run the specs net also. And you just don't want the 2 or 3 people to run it every time, like Neil's on the time.
Yeah.
And so try to force other people in your group to run it every week. You got 2 months. I think you have 2 months to run, so you have 8 weeks there. And don't ask for volunteers. Send them emails saying we're rotating through. You're assigned to do this. You're a member. Contact me if you want to switch with someone else at a different time.
Okay.
But then it really kind of gets everybody involved instead of just sleeping that day.
I like
You're
that.
only down to 8 members checking in. This will bring you back up to 20 or something.
I like that. I don't know what you think about that.
it's a volunteer thing, so it's hard, it's especially bad if your NCO doesn't show.
Yeah, I realize that, but it did seem to work for us.
Okay, it's an interesting idea.
You can talk to Jim or Harry or.
I guess I'd be interested to see some group acceptance of the new, more vigorous
Press
policy.
game approach.
Well, it seems, every so often we'll have someone who doesn't acknowledge or not show up, but we publish it a year ahead of time. I know I have to run it next week, but probably run it twice a year or something. But actually, we got enough members, it should only be once.
I could email the membership and see.
But it wasn't just given as an option, it was just done.
Well, and it's not just this group, it's also the recon folks.
Reach a broader group.
Palo Alto 9 a.m. TalkNet. They have a list of regulars. They call. They call up their call sign and ask if they're there, and if they are, they check in. To do the same thing with the membership. Get everybody list to call people one by one.
On their cell phone.
No, on the radio. They have to be on. They don't. That's not sitting there.
Okay. Great idea. See what we can do. Meeting schedule, I think I put this in the email already, but that's what it is. We are thinking, because we ran into all sorts of holidays and other activities in November, December, we're thinking of doing the ham bake in March, just so we get together as a club without so many conflicts. So that's the proposal. And right now, we're planning to run right through summer, but as we did last year, maybe we'll end up dropping one meeting in the summer. Okay, now to the most exciting part, elections. So up there are the club officers. I'm Bill, for those who don't know me, officers and directors. So I would like to see, I'm hoping folks are considering president. Everything is available. Secretary is available, treasurer is available. I should point out that Larry said he'd like to be on the board, and Roger has re-upped for the board, and PK's re-upped for the board. So anybody else wants to be on the board, we're open to it. But first, I'd like to know, for the primary officers of president, secretary, treasurer, is anybody interested? I see that look of excitement from Sam. He can't back away fast enough.
So much money we are handling. I will be the treasurer.
Oh, man. Oh, so we're gonna compete for that.
Any volunteers for, and a volunteer for treasurer? We can duke it out, or Dave?
Sure, why not?
Loser gets president?
I like that. Loser gets secretary.
Oh,
Well, how about just taking secretary?
You could, right?
It's
The
a
problem
low.
is I go nuts with it, the secretary thing. Sure, I will volunteer to be nominated for secretary.
Awesome. You can second it. I'm seconding all these. And anybody want to step forward to take the president role?
I nominate Bill.
Bill.
Second, Bill.
Okay.
You've been an exceptional president.
Yeah.
You escaping will be good.
I think I'm still on the.
I'm happy to do that for one more year, but that'll be my second year. Going on.
Term limits.
Yeah, term limits. So, myself as president, PK as treasurer, Dave as secretary. Is that, anybody want to say no to that slate?
Or if you say no, you'll end up with the job.
So, all right, so in the manner of negative voting, then, we'll go forward with that. Thank you very much. So that puts, on the board, then we have, myself, Dave, PK, Roger, and Larry. Neil, I don't know if you want to stay on the board.
Beginning at this moment, I've got the hearing aids in, the microphone on this on. And I'm still having a hard time hearing people. That's the reason I don't take net control anymore.
Okay, no worries. No worries. I enjoyed your presentation on antennas. Let's see what we can do this year.
I'm now fighting 3 antennas that don't seem to work right. Wait a minute, they don't load right. I nevertheless got a good contact with Japan on them. And Newfoundland.
How many watts?
100.
100 watt. That's impressive.
All right. So then the board, then the non-officer members are Roger Spreen, Larry Carr, and Neil Caton. Anybody against that slate?
Anybody else want on the board?
All right, not hearing any, then we'll consider those approved as well. All right, very good. So with that, I'm going to hand over to Neil to talk about the FCC's requirements.
And I know no one wants to hear about this, and I barely want to talk about it, but it's a change from like 5 years ago, and it still hasn't made it through most people's consciousness. So I thought I would just very briefly, I'm gonna stand in front of you or something, so I don't want to.
No worries.
I just don't want people surprised by it. It is a requirement. It's an easy requirement if you think of it ahead of time. I have never heard of anyone getting called on it, but in theory, you could be. I realize you can't click on these links when it's being projected, but they're all in the presentation. Presentations in the public folder, and Bill, you're going to mail out afterwards.
Yeah.
So all the hams have to do this now. There used to be a categorical exemption with if you were below a certain power level. I think it's 50 watts for a mobile. You didn't have to do it, and they changed the rules in 2021. And so now no one gets an exception. Everyone has to do the quick and dirty evaluation. It doesn't need to be turned into anyone. You just need to keep it with your radio. And if you're higher powers or in other types of setups, then you might actually have to do it every time you move around. It's fairly simple. There's a calculator on the ARRL website. This is a snapshot of what you have to fill in and then what the answers are. And so basically for, this is for an HT, you have to be at least 20 centimeters or 30 centimeters away from the antenna. And none of this applies for less than, I think it's 20 centimeters. There was on this webpage, doesn't apply if you're too close because you're in near field as opposed to far field. And so, the whole HT thing is kind of stupid why people have to do it, but it is the rule. There's two types of things you're supposed to know, a controlled environment and an uncontrolled environment. And my read of the difference is controlled environment is you, your family, other ham operators, people actively participating with the radio. An uncontrolled environment is random public. So, this is roughly a little under half a meter away from your HT. People need to be at least 1.5 feet away in order to pass that 5-watt thing. Let's see. There's some more details here that I'm not going to go through. You kind of have to figure out which type of antenna. A rubber duck is a gain of 0. An antenna gain of 2.2 is true for most, half-wave dipoles. Pick your operating frequency. I usually pick the middle of the band. You could argue the bottom of the band is the worst case and might be a better one to pick. And then there's a checkbox, include effects of ground reflections, and that seems to raise the results by 70%. And again, this is all on the ARRL website. There's other calculators also, but this one was by far the easiest to get to. I think I said this one already. So these are just a set of results that I grabbed for VHF, UHF, effectively HT and Lowell. And so the answers aren't too bad. It's a third of a meter versus 1.2 meters is the numbers. If you just wanted to carry around to be safe, those are the numbers where people who aren't you need to keep away. So if it's on the top of your car on a mag mount, you're pretty much safe. If you're putting up an antenna on a mast and the mast is 20 feet high, you're automatically good. Because everyone's further away than that. So I just want to take a couple of minutes, evangelize, keep everyone legal with the FCC, and let people know that this is, a requirement you should be thinking about. And
You're supposed to print this out and keep it in your file or something like that, you're saying.
so have it available when you're operating, if you're operating in the field. If you're operating at home,
So theoretically, when you're at parades or something, you're less than a meter away from someone.
I think the what this calculator doesn't take into account though is time. Well, in the sense that, basically it's a heating waveform, it's a sawtooth pattern, which I think actually wrote a slide in there. And so, that's out, okay. But it's a sawtooth pattern, so as you talk, as you're transmitting, you're heating up, and then as you're receiving, you cool off. And so in a parade where you're walking around, I think, the passerby is not gonna be influenced much.
And there's some weirdnesses in the calculator that I wasn't gonna go into, but it's basically, if you do a 50% duty cycle, 1 minute transmit, 1 minute not, you get different results than if it's a 5 minute transmit, 5 minute not. Because I'm guessing because you heat up more in that 5 minutes and then cool off. But anyway, I feel like I've done my duty. I told people it exists, and I'm gonna turn the clicker over.
So they changed the rules for, you just talked here about VHF and UHF. Did they also change the rules for VHF?
So they changed the rules, but the actual emission limits didn't change. So the formulas and the maximum irradiated per frequency and a set of complicated formulas that were on the first page, if you want to look them up, those are all the same. What they changed was the categorical exclusion for low power operation. That went away, so everyone has to do the calculation. It used to be most people, I suspect the reason why you see all mobile radios at 50 watts and below is that was the categorical exclusion. What's below 50 watts, you didn't have to do it. But now everyone has to do it.
Cool, thanks, Neil. All right, so I just wanted to touch on Go Kids. I know this is going to be hard to read, but basically Aries Races has published, what should be in a Go Kit. So if you're deployed, you have to go support some emergency communications item action. What should you have with you? Aries Races has kind of really two categories. One is a short-term 2-hour stint, and then the other is a longer 12-hour, and then with additional items beyond that. If you haven't seen this list, I have 10 copies with me, but you can check it out here on the website. It is a pretty good list. I won't go through all of it. It's all pretty common sense. I think where it's good to always visit the website is to get the latest forms, because you need to have some number of forms with you for that. Also, you should be prepared to be able to use different antennas, as well as if you have a J-pole, how are you going to get it up? If it's a roll-up type J-pole, you could, use a piece of twine, throw it over a tree branch perhaps and pull it up, but you have enough coax to reach it, things like that. For really longer term deployments, do you want to bring a chair? Do you want to bring a table? Two people I know who are really well prepared in this department are Neil and Larry, who have all this equipment. And basically, last time Neil was in net control for the Pathways run, drives up in his car and out comes the table, out comes chairs. So it's like, I don't have any of that. So I won't go through this because just about everybody here, I think, has some familiarity with this over the years. I did bring my go bags. They reside in my car, so I'm not running around the house trying to collect things. If there is an earthquake and my house is impacted, stuff's in the car. Due to my garage, the car's outside. So, I'm pretty much ready to go, and I can get a lot of this recommended equipment out of my garage. Pretty much have everything there. But anyway, so food for thought there. I'll do this after the meeting because I think a lot of folks have already seen that. I won't pull out everything. So with that, open mic, share your thoughts.
I just want to thank you for the great job you've done pushing the club over, meeting after meeting last year. So
Second.
Thank you for your help. Thanks everybody for their participation. Especially if you gave a talk last year. Really appreciate that. So thanks. Look forward to a good second year. And always you can email me. Let me know your thoughts. If there's something that we need to do better, or if there are other, particularly speakers and general ham topics. I'm really interested in that. And that's my biggest shortcoming, because I am a newbie. So I can't address the broader ham market very successfully beyond what QST tells me. So, I really value all of your experiences who are out doing much more in the community. Anything else? All right, then that I think will conclude the formal meeting. If anybody's interested in seeing what's in my bag, I'm happy to. There's a message passing exercise tonight.
Yeah.
It's at 8:30.
Give me time to go.
Yeah, so probably, won't stay here, we'll head home.
Sorry, I just raised it on here.
86 PT.
Okay.
All right.
Yes, you can.
Thank you all.
Yeah, I was just going to stop there.
I do know all our bad days and stuff like that all pay them after a certain amount of time.
Yes, and fortunately, the county fire district